Hello, this is the Level 2 GCF and Factor by Grouping page. Okay, so in Level 1, we learned how to factor out the greatest common factor for each. So we're going to use those same rules that we used in Level 1 in order to do a little more detail. In Level 2, though, you notice that we have x's and y's, so we have two variables on both of these. So just to refresh our rules, I'm going to write them out real quick. Remember, 2's is always an even number. 3's, we have the number like 123, and we sum the digits to see if it's divisible by 3. And in this case, we have 1 plus 2 plus 3, which equals 6. And 6 is divisible by 3. Okay, for 4, we look at the last two digits. So if I have 116, last two digits should be divisible by 4. Well, 16 is divisible by 4. And so it's divisible by 4. 5 is easy. 1's place has to have a 0 or a 5. 6, rule 2 and 3, for rules for number 2 and number 3 have to work. So that means that 2, it has to be even and it has to be divisible by 3. 7 doesn't have any special rules. 8 doesn't have any special rules. 9 is the same as 3, only it has to be, the sum of the digits have to be divisible by 9. Which in this case, 3, 6, 9. So it's going to be 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 9. 9 is indeed divisible by 9. And then 10 is our 1's place needs 0. So if we look at this first problem, we have our 3 terms. And if we notice in our 3 terms that we have x squared y, xy squared, and y cubed. And we have 6, negative 72, and 120. Well, we have to look at the variables in these really closely. And we have to pull out a variable that's in every single one. Well, if we notice, the first two only have an x squared. They have an x and a y. But my last one only has a y cubed. Well, that means that we can pull out a y from each term. The trick is finding the smallest y. And in this case, the smallest y is 1. It's right there because there's a y squared and a y cubed. So we're going to write that y out in front. So now that y is out in front, we write what's left. We have 6x squared minus 72x plus 120y squared. Oh, xy, sorry. 72xy because I only pulled out one y. Okay, now we can focus on the numbers. So using our rules, we can look through. We notice they're all even, so the 2's work. We also notice that 7 plus 2 is 9, which is divisible by 3. 1 plus 2 plus 0 is 3, which is divisible by 3. And 6 is divisible by 3. So therefore, the 6th rule works. 6 is not divisible by 4. 5 doesn't work. 7, well, we can't do 7 because 6 is the smallest, so we can stop at 6. So I'm going to divide out a 6 because that's my greatest common factor because they're all even, like I said, and they're all divisible by 3. So the 6th rule works. So when I divide out a 6, I end up putting the 6 out in front with my y. Remember, we multiply the stuff that we pull to the front. And I'm left with x squared minus 6 goes into 72. That leaves me with 12xy plus 20y squared. And so now we look and we have a 1, so nothing is divisible, and that is our answer. And so that's how we handle 2 variable problems. Let's do number 4 down here since I wrote underneath number 4. So this will be number 4. And so I have 6vu squared plus 12v squared u. Okay, so again, we start with the variables and we see that we have v's in every single one, and we have u's in every single one. So we have to see what our smallest u and our smallest v is, and it looks like our smallest v is here with 1, and our smallest u is here with 1. So that means we can only pull out a u and a v, leaving behind in our first one a 6u plus a 12v, like so, because I subtracted the u and the v from both. So this was 1, so the v went away. This was 2, so the u stayed. This one, the v minus 2, that left me with 1. The u was 1, that became 0. So now I can look at these two, and again, we see they're both even. They're both divisible by 3. The 6 isn't divisible by 4. There's no 5 or 0. And 6 is the smallest, and rules 2 and 3 work. So once again, 6 is our greatest common factor. So I get 6, and I multiply that by u and v, and I'm left with a u plus 2v. And so that's how you would do number 4. And that concludes the GCF with multivariable. Let me scroll this down just a little bit. Oops, I realized you couldn't see number 4. So now that you see number 4, I pulled out the 6 and divided by everything. And that concludes how to do multivariable greatest common factor. The next video will be factor by grouping at the level 2 ability.